y'all, Christi here with Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to be doing some garden maintenance tasks, including pruning some bottom branches from my tomatoes, fertilizing with some liquid fertilizer, and trying to get these ants under control. It's kind of been one of those really busy work weeks where I've gotten a lot done for my employer, but the garden is starting to kind of get out of control, and we've had a ton of rain. I don't know how much we had in April, but I'm betting it was at least 12 inches of rain for the month of April. So it was really wet. Everything is really overgrown. There's a weird bug over there. I don't know what it is. But I need to come through with some fertilizer because since we've had so much rain, it's kind of starting to wash the nutrients out of the soil. So I just want to give them a little bit of a boost. Everything is looking really healthy, as you can see, except for whatever might be on these eggplants. Maybe spider mites. I'm not 100% sure. So since I've been so busy at work and I haven't done a whole lot of the maintenance tasks and, you know, kept up with fertilizing and pruning and handling pest issues I'm seeing, it's good. It's starting to get a little overwhelming. So in my garden update video the other day, when I walked through and showed you kind of the new plants that were added in and talked about how I'm not going to prune like the sucker branches and stuff off of my tomatoes, that doesn't include those bottom branches that are touching the soil. So I need to prune those off to just give a little bit more airflow at that level. Also, maybe give the roly-poly something to nibble on while I'm still waiting on the Sluggo Plus to come in. That way they'll leave the plants that I'm trying to keep alone. And it will also help me kind of assess, you know, which plants might be starting to get more sick than maybe other plants. It looks like all of these eggplants are possibly getting spider mites pretty badly. That makes me very sad. But if they're on the eggplants, hopefully that means they're not on anything else. So we'll have to see. So for spider mites, you can just spray them off with like a high pressure water hose. Since we've had so much rain, I have not watered since like I was direct sowing some seeds very early on. I haven't watered in weeks because it's taking care of the watering for me. There's more rain tomorrow, there's more rain Friday, there's more rain Sunday. Today's Wednesday. I don't know when I'll have to water again. Now for the fertilizer, I'm going to be using the Neptune's Harvest liquid fish emulsion fertilizer. This is just 2-3-1, so it's 2% nitrogen, 3% phosphate, 1% potassium. So it's not like a super strong fertilizer. This is just a little bit of a boost because I also, whenever I planted all of this stuff, I did put the slow release fertilizer in with all of the seedlings and in the soil whenever I direct sowed seeds and all of that. So there is some slow release stuff still happening. So this is just like a quick boost. For the ants, I'm going to be using orange oil. I'm going to dilute 2 ounces per gallon of water, so 1/4 cup per gallon of water. I need to see if my sprayer is functional, otherwise I will have to use the watering can for both of these. I'm hoping that the sprayer is going to work because that will be a much faster way to make sure I get all of the leaves, especially with the fertilizer. But that's kind of what's on my agenda for today. Hopefully I have time to get it all done. It's been a very busy week. Anyway, okay, so let's get started. Let's stop the jibber jabbering. Let's get to work. Focus, Christi. All right, I'm gonna move you guys around so you can kind of see. Maybe I'll put you guys over here. I'm gonna do the pruning first because that is the thing that needs to be taken care of the most. I can do the fertilizer after I pick up the kids. That's no big deal. And I can do the ant control after I pick up the kids as well. But the pruning is what's going to take the longest, so I really need to get rocking and rolling on that. All right, so I'll start right here, and any of the branches that are like super down low and touching the soil, I'm gonna prune off. And also any branches that are under current fruit growth, because I don't believe that any fruit will set underneath current fruit, if that makes sense. So just pull that off. And then if I see any sprouts in my mulch, because this is a straw mulch, it will sprout some grasses every now and again. I'll go ahead and pull that out too. Alright. These are kind of like drooping into the grass, so I'm going to cut off part of them, but not all of them. And then any branches that I see while I'm in here that look kind of sick or crunchy, or maybe like they're starting to get the beginnings of some sort of fungus or something, I will go ahead and remove those too. Just trying to make sure that we have the healthiest branches possible on these plants. I totally forgot that this is the first Wednesday of the month, and the alarms, the weather sirens started going off, and I about jumped out of my skin. That scared the bejesus out of me. So hopefully you guys got a good laugh at that, because I totally forgot. And I'm out here right whenever it happens. So yeah, there you go. The weather sirens. First Wednesday of the month, every month, without fail. Yep. Alright, I am going to get the rest of these plants pruned up, and then I will be back with you guys after I get the sprayer and test it out, make sure it's working, and kind of walk you through that whole process. So I will check back in with you guys soon. Okay, so I am not a perfect gardener. I'm not even close. I learn lessons every single year, and the lesson I learned this year is to prune very carefully so that you don't accidentally cut your entire tomato down, which is what I just did. This is the Sakura cherry tomato. There is only like 1.5 inches of the stem sticking out of the soil, so I'm pretty sure I just killed it. Great. So, my bad. I will have one less cherry tomato plant in this back garden bed, but that's okay. I have 5 other cherry tomato plants. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. I can try the Sakura cherry again next year. That was just a very painful lesson to learn, but I don't want to like be on YouTube pretending that I do everything absolutely right, because I don't. I make a lot of mistakes, and that one just happened to be kind of a big one. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do the rest of the pruning without unaliving any more plants. Pray for me. Okay, originally I was gonna throw this in the garbage and just chalk it up as a loss, but because I had the other 2 tomatoes that I was able to save from the brink of death, I'm gonna try to save this one too. So I'm going to trim off these lower branches to just past this sucker here, and I'm gonna cut off these tomatoes. I'm sorry, little tomatoes. And I'm gonna plant this in the soil and see if I can get it to take root and maybe save it and perhaps have a fall harvest of these tomatoes. We'll see. These tomatoes that were also on the plant, I'm going to take inside and see. I'm gonna put them on the windowsill and see if I can get them to kind of ripen up and at least have a few from the plant. But yes, I'm going to try to bury this bad boy in the soil and hope I can save it. I'm really mad at myself. Okay, so that's where I cut it, and that's where I'm gonna try to grow it back. I just went ahead and wove it back through my trellising here. I really hope that this will work out okay. And I'm also thankful it's gonna be raining soon, because that soil was starting to feel a little bit dry. Okay, well, the pruning is done, and the good news is there was only one innocent bystander. Like I said, I am going to try to save it, but on the ground, you can see everything that was pruned. You can see some of it is, I don't know if that is the beginning of blight or spider mites or just a nutrient deficiency. I'm not 100% sure, so I just pruned off anything that was ugly, and then anything that was touching or anything that was going to grow to be touching, or if it was just growing off too many branches from like this level, then I cut some of those off as well. Not all of them, but some of them. So you can see here quite a bit. You could see into the garden a little bit better now. That wasn't my main goal here, although it is nice to know that whenever I reach in, there's not a snake waiting there for me. So I like that part. But since I'm trying to fill this bed, that wasn't my goal. My goal was just to give this a little bit of airflow, clip off any, not happy branches, and just create a generally more healthy space. I do still need to fertilize and treat for ants. So let me go grab that sprayer and see if I can get it to work. So I will check back in with you guys shortly. Okay, so my pump sprayer is not working. I'm not really sure what happened to it. It wasn't a very big one anyway. It was only a gallon. So I would have had to refill it several times to get through this garden. So what I have is my 2-gallon watering can. So I believe for both of these, let me see, outdoor plants. Okay, so for the Neptune's harvest, it's gonna be a 1/4 cup per 2 gallons. And then for the orange oil, it's going to be 1/2 cup for 2 gallons. So I will I'm gonna do the fertilizer first because I have more ground to cover with that one. I have my green stalks, plus all the raised beds, plus the flowers. Like anything that is a plant that's growing needs to be fertilized. The orange oil, I only need to worry about it in the raised beds because that's the only place that I've seen the ants. And basically the idea behind that is, let me flip this around and kind of point and talk about stuff. So, okay, so right here in the edge of this bed, next to this woolly Kate tomato, there are ants that are trying to create a home or whatever, I don't typically mind until I get bit, and I'm starting to get bit because the ants will help aerate the soil, and they do a lot as far as like garden beneficial stuff. They can be pollinators. Sometimes they can be really useful. So I like to leave them until they start causing a problem for me, and I'm starting to get bit, so it's time for them to go. So the orange oil, whenever I make my watering can, I need to saturate the entire bed. That way they're not encouraged to just simply pick up and move to the other end of the bed. I don't want them anywhere in this bed. And then if I see them on the ground, I'll start treating the ground. For now, they're in 3 raised beds out of 5. So I'm gonna go ahead and treat all 5 raised beds just so they don't move from one to the other. So yes, like I was saying, we just want to drench the entire bed with that 2-gallon can. So that will be 5 different cans that I'll have to mix up. I'm not sure how much of the fertilizer I'm going to have to make up because I am fertilizing everything that has any sort of life happening, including the green stalks, even these bush beans and stuff, just to give them a little bit of a nutrient boost. And you know, because it has been so rainy, I want to make sure that the soil has enough nutrients in it for them to do what they need to do. And then the lime tree is a heavy nitrogen guy, so I want to get that guy fed. This green stalk, I mean, pretty much if there's a plant, even those buckets over there, I want to make sure that they're getting fertilized so that they can continue to be healthy and continue to grow. Okay, so I have the first watering can that has the fish emulsion fertilizer in it. I'm going to start with this back bed, and I'm just going to work my way around the entire garden area. Like I said, I really wanted to get everything that is growing with the fertilizer, just to give it a nutrient boost. So I'm going to start right here, try to drench everything the best that I can, and then just move around the yard. Okay, I will check back in with you guys after I get the rest of the garden good and fertilized. I got everything fertilized. The way that I did these green stalks was I put the fertilizer in the watering can, and then I just poured it into this top reservoir here rather than trying to make sure that all of the foliage was fertilized, because it would have went all over the patio and I would have wasted more than I used. So that was how I fertilized all 3 of the green stalks. Everything else, I tried to get as much foliage as I could. I don't actually have time to do the orange oil today like I had hoped. That's the problem with me, is I am terrible at time management. I have to go cook dinner for the family, and I think it's going to actually start raining like later this evening. If I have time, I'll come back out and do that. But that, unfortunately, is all I have time to do today, was the pruning the tomatoes, almost killing one, and then fertilizing. The fertilizing took a while. I didn't realize it was going to take that long. But those 2 things are done, which those were the 2 most important things. So I am going to go in, wash my hands, and drink some water, and then I'm going to cook dinner. But I will see you guys next time, and until then, go find a way to get those garden manicures. Bye.